you watch the movie Eternals? If yes, do you remember that scene when the Celestial was born and he cracked open the Earth? What if I told you that that happened in reality? Not the Celestial thing, that was fiction. Terrible fiction indeed, but the cracking the Earth open thing. Welcome to Entirely Elon Musk. Today, we are talking about a volcano that cracked open the Earth. Want to know what that is and how that happened? Then hold on tight as we tell you everything. On January 15, 2022, the Hunga Tonga-Hunga Ha'apai volcano erupted, causing a sonic boom that twice circled the Earth and a tsunami that swept the entire planet. A massive cloud of water vapor the size of more than 58,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools was also propelled into the stratosphere by the underwater eruption in the South Pacific Ocean. The water vapor alone was sufficient to change the Earth's average global temperature briefly. "We've never seen anything like it," said Louis Milan, an atmospheric scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California. He oversaw a recent investigation on how much water vapor the Tonga volcano sent into the stratosphere, the region of the atmosphere between 8 and 33 miles above the planet's surface. In the study published in Geophysical Research Letters, Milan and his colleagues calculate that the Tonga eruption sent about 146 teragrams of water vapor into Earth's stratosphere, or 10% of the water already present in that atmospheric layer. I know many of you will wonder how much 1 teragram is. I will tell you the exact value just because I don't want to waste your time. 1 teragram is equal to 1 trillion grams. Scientists believe that the 1991 Mount Pinatubo eruption in the Philippines sent roughly 4 times as much water vapor into the stratosphere. Milan examined data from NASA's Aura satellite microwave limb sounder sensor, which analyzes atmospheric gases like ozone and water vapor. When the Tonga volcano erupted, the MLS crew started noticing water vapor measurements that were out of this world. "We had to carefully inspect all the measurements in the plume to make sure that they were trustworthy," said Milan. Rarely does water from volcanic explosions enter the stratosphere. Only 2 earlier eruptions, the 2008 Kasatochi event in Alaska and the 2015 Calbuco eruption in Chile, have transported considerable amounts of water vapor to such high altitudes during the 18 years that NASA has been collecting data. But compared to the Tonga events, those were mere blips, and the water vapor from the 2 earlier eruptions swiftly vanished. And when I say blip, I was not talking about the one they talk about in Spider-Man Far From Home, just being transparent with you people. On the other hand, the extra water vapor that the Tonga volcano released may stay in the stratosphere for several years. This additional water vapor may impact the atmosphere's chemistry, accelerating some chemical reactions that can momentarily exacerbate ozone layer depletion. Additionally, it might affect surface temperatures. Krakatoa and Mount Pinatubo are 2 examples of significant volcanic eruptions that often chill the Earth's surface by spewing gases, dust, and ash that reflect sunlight back into space. The Tonga volcano, in contrast, did not release significant amounts of aerosols into the stratosphere. Yet the enormous quantities of water vapor produced by the eruption may have had a little transient warming effect since water vapor traps heat. The result wouldn't last long enough to dramatically increase the impact of climate change since the excess water vapor would disappear once it left the stratosphere. The underwater volcano's caldera, a basin-shaped depression typically formed after magma erupts or drains from a shallow chamber beneath the volcano, was at precisely the proper depth in the ocean, about 490 feet, which is about 150 meters down. This is likely the only reason the sheer amount of water injected into the stratosphere was possible. To obtain the stratospheric water vapor levels, Milan and his colleagues observed the erupting magma would not have superheated enough seawater at any shallower depth. The intense pressures there might have dampened the eruption if the water had been any deeper. The MLS instrument, which tracks natural microwave emissions from Earth's atmosphere, was well placed to find this water vapor plume. MLS can see past obstructions like ash clouds that blind other equipment monitoring water vapor in the stratosphere by measuring these signals. MLS was the only instrument with dense enough coverage to capture the water plume as it happened, and the only one that wasn't affected by the ash that the volcano released, said Milan. Now, if you are flowing yet, you already know that this is not the first underwater eruption. In fact, they are very common in the Pacific Ring of Fire. I won't go into that, as it's a whole other topic in and of itself. So, I was saying that these eruptions are common, and this might be the eruption that evaporated so much water, but it wasn't the largest underwater eruption. So, let's give a look at the largest underwater explosion. A gigantic baby underwater volcano the size of a skyscraper was born in 2018 from the most tremendous active underwater eruption ever seen. Following an odd string of earthquakes that occurred close to what is often a seismically quiet location, scientists eventually found the 2,690 foot tall and about 820 meters volcano in the western Indian Ocean off to Madagascar. The researchers discovered a new submerged volcano around 1.5 times as tall as New York's One World Trade Center after gathering geological data, including information about an underwater survey of the area conducted in 2019. Additionally, this new baby uses the most bottomless volcanic lava reservoir known to science. The source of the magma, the reservoir, is very deep, about 34 miles underground. Study lead researcher Natalie Fuelet, a marine geoscientist at the Paris Institute of Earth Physics. This is the first time in volcanology that we can see such a deep reservoir at the base of the lithosphere. Now, you might wonder what the lithosphere is, so let me tell you, it's the outer shell of Earth that includes the upper mantle and crust. Mayotte, a little island and French colony between Madagascar and Mozambique, was shaken by more than 11,000 earthquakes that could be detected between May 2018 and May 2021. The strongest earthquake had a magnitude of 5.9. Still, there were also unusual seismic hums, sometimes known as very low-frequency earthquakes, that began deep down and were detected by seismometers worldwide. Volcanic activity is linked to these extremely rare earthquakes. According to the study's author, this abrupt seismic activity was unexpected considering that 2 earthquakes have been found nearby Mayotte since 1972, and that the area's most recent volcanic activity deposited a layer of pumice in a lagoon nearby, which occurred at least 4,000 years ago. According to GPS data, Mayotte was discovered to be moving eastward of roughly 7.8 inches per year in July 2018. To better understand the island's geological changes, scientists erected global navigation satellite system and ocean bottom seismometers around it. At the time, the island only had 3 or 4 GPS stations. The results were astounding. Between February and May 2019, the seismometers at the bottom of the ocean and onshore detected 17,000 occurrences. Fuelet and her co-workers took a trip on the research ship Marion du Fresne in May 2019. The team was aware of a magmatic event that had occurred east of Mayotte, but they were uncertain whether the magma had remained buried beneath the crust or burst onto the sea floor. Their efforts paid off. We discovered that these earthquakes were, for the most part, located in an area quite close to the island, 10 kilometers, 6 miles from the east coast of the island, but were deep, between 20 and 50 kilometers, 12 to 31 miles deep, Fuelet wrote. Then, around 31 miles east of Mayotte, something extremely enormous was discovered by the ship's multi-beam echo sounder, which used sound waves to survey the bottom and water column. It was an undersea volcano with about 1.2 cubic miles of the pyramid-shaped edifice. According to the last survey by France's Naval Hydrographic and Oceanographic Service, this volcano was entirely new. It wasn't present in 2014. That region was nearly flat at roughly 3,300 meters below sea level, according to the 2014 survey. The researchers said in that report, "The volcano produced a volume of material that is 30 to 1,000 times greater than that of any other known deep-sea eruptions." Now you know that these volcanoes crack open the earth, and there are chances that the worst one is yet to come. And if that happens, we will inform you. So why don't you subscribe to the channel? Also, like the video, and don't forget to comment on your views. I'll see you around.